Okay, I'm going to be doing the simile of the saw tonight. Thus have I heard on one occasion, the Blessed One was living in Sawati in Jeta's Grove, Anathan Pendika's park. Now on that occasion, the Venerable Malaya Paguna was associating overmuch with bhikkhunis. He was associating so much with the bhikkhunis that if a monk spoke dispraise of those bhikkhunis in his presence, he would become angry and displeased and would make a case of it. No, it's okay. And if any monk would speak or spoke dispraise of the Venerable Malaya Paguna in those bhikkhunis' presence, they would become angry and displeased and make a case of it. So much was the Venerable Malaya Paguna associating with the bhikkhunis. Then a certain monk went to the Blessed One, after paying homage to him, sat down at one side, and told the Blessed One what was taking place. Then the Blessed One addressed a certain monk thus: "Monk, come monk, tell the monk Malaya Paguna in my name that the teacher calls him." "Yes, Venerable Sir," he replied. And he went to the Venerable Malaya Paguna and told him, "The teacher calls you, friend Paguna." "Yes, friend," he replied, and he went to the Blessed One. After paying homage to him, sat down at one side. The Blessed One asked him, "Paguna, is it true that you're associating overmuch with bhikkhunis? That you're associating so much with the bhikkhunis that if any monk speaks dispraise of those bhikkhunis in your presence, you become angry and displeased and make a case of it? And if any monk speaks dispraise of you in those bhikkhunis' presence, they become angry and displeased and make a case of it. Are you associating so much with the bhikkhunis as it seems?" "Yes, Venerable Sir." "Paguna, are you not a clansman who's gone forth out of faith from the home life into homelessness?" "Yes, Venerable Sir." "Paguna, it is not proper for you, a clansman gone forth out of faith from the home life into homelessness, to associate overmuch with bhikkhunis. Therefore, if anyone speaks dispraise of those bhikkhunis in your presence, you should abandon any desire and any thought based on the household life. Based on the household life means getting angry and displeased and making a case of it. When you hear somebody else trying to get you to change your ways. And herein you should train thus. Please listen attentively. My mind will be unaffected, and I shall utter no evil words. I shall abide compassionate for his welfare with a mind of loving kindness without inner hate. That is how you should train. So monks, when they hear somebody making complaining about other monks, this is the way that we're supposed to handle this. Not get in arguments and fights with people, but starting to radiate loving kindness to them instead. If anyone gives those bhikkhunis a blow with his hand, with a clod, with a stick, or with a knife in your presence, you should abandon any desire and any thought based on the household life. That doesn't mean you don't stop them from causing those kind of problems, but you get in between the two. And herein you should train thus: my mind will be unaffected, and I shall utter no evil words. I shall abide compassionate for his welfare with a mind of loving kindness without inner hate. If anyone speaks dispraise in your presence, you should abandon any desire and any thought based on the household life. Quite often it's better to say nothing than it is to comment on things. And herein you should train thus: my mind will be unaffected, and I shall utter no evil words. I shall abide compassionate for his welfare with a mind of loving kindness without inner hate. If anyone should give you a blow with a hand, with a clod, with a stick, or with a knife, you should abandon any desire and any thoughts based on the household life. And herein you should train: my mind will be unaffected, and I shall utter no evil words. I shall abide compassionate for his welfare with a mind of loving kindness without inner hate. That is how you should train, Bhikkhuna. Then the Blessed One addressed the monks thus: monks, there was an occasion when the monks satisfied my mind. Here I address the monks thus: monks, I eat at a single session. By doing so, I am free from illness and affliction, and I enjoy lightness, strength, and a comfortable abiding. Come, monks, eat at a single session. By so doing, you will be free from illness and affliction, and you will enjoy lightness, strength, and a comfortable abiding. I didn't believe this. When I first became a monk, I didn't believe it at all. And then I started, I went to Australia to be with a teacher there. And he only ate once a day. So I started eating just once a day. And when I went there, it was winter time. So it was fairly cool there. I didn't get a cold. I didn't have any kind of physical problem at all. Then it got to be at the end of the range retreat, it got to be warmer. So I was getting up early and I would go into where they were eating breakfast. Some of the monks did eat breakfast. And I'd sit and talk with them. But then I'd start picking a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and before long I was eating breakfast, and I immediately caught a cold. So what did I do? I stopped eating, and the cold went away. And I've since found that it really does make sense. Anytime I start to feel a cold coming on, I stop eating completely. Now, this has some scientific evidence in it, because your digestion has enzymes. It comes from your pancreas. When you don't put food in your stomach, those enzymes start to go out through your body, and it starts taking care of any problems that your body has. Now, and this is something that Sister Kema has seen me do. I don't eat. I have a cold coming on. I don't eat. The next day, I don't have a cold. It happens that fast. Now, when you start to feel a cold coming on, you start to feel aching, and you might sneeze a little bit. Your body is telling you right then and there, go lay down. Don't push it. You have a window that's about 2 hours, that if you go lay down, you take some vitamin C, you rest for the rest of the day, you drink water. By the next day, the cold is gone. Or you can push it. You can say, oh, I've got to go to work. I have to do this. I have to do that. And then you can have a cold that lasts 2 weeks. It's your choice. So, I pay attention to what my body is telling me and be in harmony with that. When your body is aching, your body is telling you, I need rest. And that doesn't mean read a book, play with the computer, listen to the radio or television. That means rest. And when you take rest, you take vitamin D3, you take vitamin C. In just a few short hours, cold is gone. Coming here from Indonesia, we were in a taxi coming from the airport, and the man that ran the taxi, he had the air conditioner on, and it was hitting me right, and I started to catch a cold. So the next day, I'm not going to get up, I'm going to stay down, I'm going to relax. And I had the cold for a few hours, and then it went away. But it's surprising how shocking everybody else is. Oh, he didn't come for his food. Oh, no, he's going to suffer because he doesn't eat. No, I'm going to heal because I don't eat. So consider this. When you start to feel a cold coming on, there's nothing that's so important to you as taking rest. Oh, I've got to go to work. When I was in Burma, I was staying in a place that was kind of like a dormitory for the monks. And one monk would get a cold, all the monks would get a cold. So I started to feel a cold coming on. And this was during retreat. And I just, I'm going to lay down, I'm going to take rest. I was through with the cold by the next day. All the other monks, they tried to sit and push their way through the meditation, and they got the cold, and it lasted for 2 weeks. So I had my choice. One of the things that I can't do is give a Dhamma talk when people have their arms crossed. So please, that's a thinking posture, not a listening posture. So when the Buddha is talking about eating only one meal a day, that you're going to be free from illness and affliction, and you'll enjoy lightness, strength, and a comfortable abiding. He's really being serious with that. Too much time is put on worrying about food. It's really true. I've been around a lot of monks that they really pile the food into their bowl, and they really eat a lot of food. And they wind up being kind of sickly. So when they start cutting back on the amount of food that you're taking, then you start feeling more and more healthy. Okay. Come, monks, eat at a single session. By doing so, you'll be free from illness and affliction, and you will enjoy lightness, strength, and a comfortable abiding. And I had no need to keep on instructing those monks. I only had to arouse mindfulness in them. Suppose there were a chariot on even ground at a crossroads, harnessed with thoroughbreds, waiting with goad lying ready, so that a skilled trainer or a charioteer of horses to be tamed might mount it, and taking the reins in his left hand and the goad in his right hand, might drive out and back by any road wherever he likes. So too I had no need to keep instructing those monks. I only had to arouse mindfulness in them. Therefore, monks, abandon what is unwholesome and devote yourself to wholesome states. What does that mean? How do you abandon what is unwholesome? You're cheating. You're giving them the answers before I ask them.
No, I just learned it, I promise.
Practice the 6 R's. What is unwholesome? Anything that you're taking personally. This is me, this is mine. That is a wrong belief. That is what is unwholesome. For that is how you will come to growth, increase, and fulfillment in this Dhamma. Take 6R. Every time anything distracts you away from your object of meditation. Suppose there was a big salad tree grove near a village or town, and it was choked with castor oil weeds, and some man would appear desiring its good welfare and protection. He would cut down and throw out the crooked saplings that rob the sap, and he would clean up the interior of the grove and tend the straight, well-formed saplings, so that the salad tree grove later on would come to growth, increase, and fulfillment. So too, monks, abandon what is unwholesome and devote yourself to wholesome states. Smile. Give your smile away. For that is how you will come to growth, increase, and fulfillment in this Dhamma and discipline. Formerly, monks, in the same Sawati, there was a housewife named Vedika, and a good report of Mistress Vedika had spread thus: Mistress Vedika is gentle. Mistress Vedika is meek. Mistress Vedika is peaceful. Now, Mistress Vedika had a maid named Kali, who was clever and nimble and neat in her work. The maid Kali thought, excuse me, a good report about my lady has been spread thus: Mistress Vedika is gentle, meek, and peaceful. How is it now that while she does not show anger, it is nevertheless actually present in her? Or is it absent? Or else is it just because my work is neat that my lady shows no anger, though it's actually present in her? Suppose I test my lady. So the maid Kali got up late. Then Mistress Vedika said, "Hey, Kali, what is it, madam? What's the matter that you got up so late?" "Nothing is the matter, madam." "Nothing is the matter, you wicked girl, yet you get up so late?" And she was angry and displeased, and she scowled. Then the maid Kali thought, the fact is that while my lady does not show anger, it's actually present in her, not absent. And it's just because my work is neat that my lady shows no anger, though it's actually present in her, not absent. Suppose I test my lady a little more. So the maid Kali got up later in the day. Then Mistress Vedika said, "Hey, Kali, what is it, madam? What is the matter that you get up later in the day?" "Nothing is the matter, madam." "Nothing is the matter, you wicked girl, yet you get up later in the day." And she was angry and displeased, and she spoke words of displeasure. Then the maid Kali thought, the fact is that while my lady does not show anger, it's actually present in her, not absent. So it's just because my work is neat that my lady does not show anger, though it's actually present in her, not absent. Suppose I test my lady a little bit more. So the maid Kali got up later in the day. Then Mistress Vedika said, "Hey Kali, what is it, madam? What's the matter that you get up still later in the day?" "Nothing is the matter, madam. Nothing is the matter, you wicked girl, yet you get up still later in the day." And she was angry and displeased, and she took a rolling pin and gave her a blow on the head and cut her head. Then the maid Kali, with blood running from the cut on her head, denounced her mistress to the neighbors. "See, ladies, the gentle ladies work. See, ladies, the meek ladies work. See, ladies, the peaceful ladies work. How can she become angry and displeased with her only maid for getting up late? How can she take a rolling pin and give her a blow on the head and cut her head?" Then later, on a bad report about Mistress Vedika spread thus: "Mistress Vedika is rough. Mistress Vedika is violent. Mistress Vedika is merciless." So too, monks, some monk is extremely gentle, extremely meek, extremely peaceful, so long as disagreeable courses of speech do not touch him. But it is when disagreeable courses of speech touch him that it can be understood whether that monk is really kind, gentle, and peaceful. I do not call a monk easy to admonish, who is easy to admonish and makes himself easy to admonish only for the sake of getting robes, alms food, resting place, and medicinal requisites. Why is that? Because that monk is not easy to admonish, nor makes himself easy to admonish when he gets no robes, alms food, resting place, or medicinal requisites. But when a monk is easy to admonish and makes himself easy to admonish because he honors, respects, and reveres the Dhamma, him I call easy to admonish. Therefore, monks, you should train thus. We shall be easy to admonish and make ourselves easy to admonish because we honor, respect, and revere the Dhamma. That is how you should train. Monks, there are these 5 courses of speech that others may use when they address you. Their speech may be timely or untimely, true or untrue, gentle or harsh, connected with good or with harm, spoken with a mind of loving kindness or with inner hate. When others address you, their speech may be timely or untimely. When others address you, their speech may be true or untrue. When others address you, their speech may be gentle or harsh. When others address you, their speech may be connected with good or with harm. When others address you, their speech may be spoken with a mind of loving kindness or with inner hatred. Here, monks, you should train thus. Our minds will remain unaffected, and we shall utter no evil words. We shall abide compassionate for their welfare with a mind of loving kindness, without inner hate. We shall abide pervading that person with a mind imbued with loving kindness, and starting with him, we shall abide pervading the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. That is how you should train. Sounds like pretty good advice to me, huh? What do you care what somebody else says? Really? That's their opinion, right? Their opinion can be filled with hatred. It can be filled with loving kindness. What this is telling you to do, it doesn't matter who you're talking to. As soon as you go up and start talking with that person, start radiating loving kindness to that person. And then when they walk away, use them as the reminder to radiate loving kindness to all beings. What a nice way to live, huh? Radiating loving kindness is pretty amazing. I've had the opportunity to be around people that were really angry with other people. So what do I do? Do I want to get involved with what they're saying to each other? No. Start radiating loving kindness to both of them. People that are angry, saying all kinds of things that are harsh and hurtful. So, radiate loving kindness to them. Don't pay attention to what they're saying, because that's just emotional nonsense. That's not what the problem's all about. What the problem is about is getting caught in papancha, mental proliferation, right? So, don't get caught in it. Radiate loving kindness. Watch what happens. I've been around people that were in fist fights, and they were fighting right in front of me. Am I going to get in the middle of that? No. Why? Because they're going to hit me. I don't want to get hit. But I can certainly radiate loving kindness. And before long, they stop fighting. And then they start talking to each other. But you keep radiating loving kindness. Before long, a real miracle occurs. They start laughing together. That's a miracle. And then quite often people will say to me, "Thanks, Bhante, gotta go, gotta do this, gotta do that." And I haven't said a word to them. Radiating loving kindness brings balance into every situation that I can think of. It really does work, but you have to trust it. You have to trust your loving kindness and radiate that kind feeling to other people. That's why you need to sit every day. Why? Because then your mind will tend towards the loving kindness when you get in situations that are difficult. One time I used to live in Hawaii when I was a layman, and I was reading a book, and there were these teenage boys that were getting kind of rowdy, and they were causing a lot of problems with people around. And they decided that they were going to try to cause me problems. So the leader of the pack, he went and jumped over me and kicked me while I was laying down on the beach reading a book. So I got up and I said, that's not a nice thing to do. And I could see him and all the other boys, they got around me. There was 10 or 12 of them. And they're starting to build themselves up, and they're starting to, okay, I'm gonna go punch this guy out. And when I saw that happening, I had a lot of compassion arise in my mind. And I saw how much pain they were causing themselves, making themselves angry so that they can cause physical harm. So I started radiating loving kindness to them. And after just a short period of time, the leader of the pack, he started looking at me, and he just shook his head and he walked away. And all the rest of them walked away. Now that could have been a very difficult situation. But how to overcome difficult situations? Put loving kindness into them. See, that's the thing you have to remember. Makes everything easier when you put loving kindness into them. And you get to see all kinds of miracles happen when you do that. I mean, it's pretty amazing. In Sutta number 19.
I took a walk yesterday, and normally a dog will bark at me when I pass by the house. But I didn't notice a dog. But when I was walking and passing the house, I noticed a dog that he was just like standing there with his mouth open. He wasn't barking or anything, so I can say I understand. I know the dog.
Yeah. Animals are very, very receptive to loving kindness. It's pretty amazing to watch. But in Sutta number 19, it says, whatever a person frequently thinks and ponders upon, that will become the inclination of his mind. If he frequently thinks and ponders on thoughts of sensual desire, he has abandoned the thought of renunciation to cultivate the thought of sensual desire. Then his mind inclines towards thoughts of sensual desire. What do you spend your time thinking and pondering on? Liking this, disliking that, wanting it to be different than it is, being unhappy in one way or another. Well, you can do that, but your mind is going to tend towards those kind of thoughts and those kind of feelings. And who is causing themselves pain? Then don't do that. Spend your time dwelling on happy, uplifting thoughts, wishing other people happiness. And the more you can do that, the more your mind inclines towards that. Being a monk means that I have time to do a lot of different kinds of things. And I read in one of the suttas that the Buddha, whenever he would start walking, he always started with his right foot. He always used his right foot. So I thought, well, that's an interesting thing. Please don't sit with your arms crossed. That's good for sleeping, but not good for listening to Dhamma. So I thought, well, why don't I add a little bit to that and see what I can come up with? So I started the practice of whenever I would get up, I would try to remember to start with my right foot with a thought of loving kindness. And sometimes I'd remember to do it, and sometimes I didn't. When I didn't, then I would go back and I would sit down, and then I would get up and start walking with my right foot with loving kindness. And I kept the loving kindness going. But every time I forgot, then I would start over again. See, this is one of the things that we have to remember. We have to do the repetition over and over and over and over again to make it into a habitual tendency. Not all habitual tendencies are unwholesome. You get into the habit of wishing well for other people, that is very wholesome. So the more you can remember to do that with your daily activities, your sitting meditation will improve very fast. So the more you smile, the more you laugh, the more you wish other people well, the more you forgive other people for causing you pain. Now you're on the good path. But it takes practice. It's not going to happen right away. Old habits, hard to let go of. Somebody says something I don't like, my mind goes, "Argh." Okay. So forgive yourself for making a mistake and wish yourself happiness and forgive that other person for causing that to arise. The more you become aware of what your mind is doing and you learn how to to relax and smile, the more magic you're going to see in your life. Oh, but I had an experience one time that caused me a lot of fear, so I'm going to keep thinking about that and get caught up in my fear and my anxiety, and I'm going to cause myself all kinds of problems because of that. You want to do that? You can. Or not. It's your choice. See, the thing with Buddhism that is really, it's not talked about very much, but the reason that you come to the Buddha's teaching is because you're suffering. You want to let go of that suffering. Life is hard. There's a lot of stuff that's really not very nice. You have to be willing to change. That's frightening in itself. I'm comfortable being angry or sad or depressed or whatever it happens to be. I'm comfortable with that. You mean I have to give it up? Well, you want to be happy? Okay. Then be happy. Keep smiling. Keep your mind uplifted. And when you find that your mind is caught up in some kind of mental rubbish, laugh with yourself for getting caught and let it go and start again. There was a movie a long time ago that was done by Woody Allen, I think. It was called Play It Again, Sam. Well, that's what we have to do. Play it again. The key word here is play. Life is not supposed to be serious. If you have a serious mind, you have a mind that has a lot of, I want it the way I want it when I want it that way. I. And how much pain do you cause yourself? And one of the things that they talk about with the First Noble Truth about suffering, they say getting what you don't want is a form of suffering. It's really true. How much pain do you want to cause yourself? Or would you rather let go of the pain and find a new way of practice? Why do I keep on talking about smiling? Because that helps joy to arise. And when joy arises, your mind is uplifted. And when your mind is uplifted, you're very alert. And life actually turns out to be quite fun. I had a job one time where I decided that it was a difficult job that I was doing, but it was my choice whether to complain about it and do a lousy job of it, or to have fun with it and do a good job with it. And people would come in and said, well, how can you laugh with this stuff? Well, I can laugh, I can cry. I prefer to laugh. Crying doesn't make my body feel good. So have fun with it. And it's your choice, always. You can have fun or not. That's up to you. What's your habitual tendency? What do you think and ponder on? See how it all gets interconnected? It's really part of the practice of Buddhism. To develop that mind that is wholesome, that has equanimity in it, that doesn't get so caught up in emotional this and depression of that, and fear and anxiety and all of these different kinds of things. So this particular sutta is really quite good because it shows you how to do the practice with your daily activities, with speech. Speech is pretty interesting because that's the precept that gets broken most. Saying things that you shouldn't have said, dividing people up, gossip, making up stories about other people. That kind of speech is not wholesome. So let's go through this again. There are these 5 courses of speech that others may use when they address you. Their speech may be timely or untimely, true or untrue. Sometimes people just flat out tell you things that aren't true. So, gentle or harsh, connected with good or with harm, spoken with a mind of loving kindness or with inner hate. When others address you, their speech may be timely or untimely. When others address you, their speech may be true or untrue. When others address you, their speech may be gentle or harsh. When others address you, their speech may be connected with good or with harm. When others address you, their speech may be spoken with a mind of loving kindness or with inner hate. You should train thus. Our minds will remain unaffected, and we shall utter no evil words. We shall abide compassionate for everybody else's welfare, with a mind of loving kindness, without inner hate. We shall abide pervading that person with a mind imbued with loving kindness. And starting with him, we shall abide pervading the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. That is how you should train. Monks, even if bandits were to sever you savagely limb by limb with a 2-handed saw, he who gave rise to a mind of hate towards them would not be carrying out my teaching. That's pretty heavy duty, isn't it? Herein, monks, you should train thus. Our minds will remain unaffected, and we shall utter no evil words. We shall abide compassionate for their welfare, with a mind of loving kindness without inner hate. We shall abide pervading them with a mind imbued with loving kindness, and starting with them we shall abide pervading the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued of loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. That is how you should train. Now, where is the importance of doing the breathing meditation? Does the breathing meditation teach you this? Loving kindness does. How do you practice? By radiating loving kindness all the time. That's why this practice, your progress is so fast, because you can do it all the time. And the thing is, you can have fun doing it. It doesn't have to be, I've got to go sit. You can say things that make other people laugh. You can say things that make other people's mind comes up higher. Monks, if you keep this advice on the simile of the saw constantly in mind, do you see any course of speech, trivial or gross, that you could not endure? No, Venerable Sir. Therefore, monks, you should keep this advice on the simile of the saw constantly in mind. That will lead to your welfare and happiness for a long time. Interesting, isn't it? How something as simple as that can change the whole world around you. The more you practice loving kindness meditation, the more you affect everybody else around you.